Hi there, my name is Angie and I'm with the Squishy Guitar Project. And I'm actually making this video today in a direct response to a video that Brad, the Guitologist, posted last night regarding a amazing guitar that was donated to the Squishy Guitar Project that Brad was so awesome and amazing to unbox on video and have a debut video, and actually put this guitar that was donated by Zio Guitars on an eBay auction that directly benefits the Squishy Guitar Project, which is my charity. That's my nonprofit that I opened to be the legacy of my sweet, amazing, wonderful little girl Squishy, who is battling rare diseases and has been her whole life. She's 5 years old now. And not only to be her legacy, but to put a positive impact in those who want to have a rock star dream and would love to be a rock star and love to have a guitar and love to have the healing power of music in their life, but they have no way to go about it, and their parents can't afford it because their parents are taking them back and forth to hospitals and figuring out how to pay for surgeries and medications just to keep their child alive, medical equipment just to keep their child alive. And that was the backbone and the reason why we started the Squishy Guitar Project. And you don't often see my face on videos. I'm not the forefront. I'm not the person that goes out there and does videos, and there's several reasons for it. One, it's difficult to find quiet time whenever you have a little 5-year-old that's running around and has all of these extensive medical needs that you have to keep up with. It's difficult to find a quiet space and time to actually sit out and do a video, much less anything else that's functional. But video in itself is difficult. And I am making an exception to this rule today to respond to Brad, and had to stop this several times because of tears that flew down my cheeks whenever I was trying to tell the story. And I hope you guys can appreciate it for what it is. It's the backstory to how Squishy got here. And I'm going to bring it all around and hopefully help you a little bit with what's going on, Brad. And if it helps, great. That's how it's intended. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. I tried. Squishy and I are survivors of domestic abuse. Her dad was by far the most kind and amazing man I had ever met. And I was coming out, or had been out of a marriage for an extended period of time, where I was married to someone who was very selfish and didn't give any sort of attention to me. And the time that we had together wasn't all bad, but I can tell you that I spent more time of those years in my first marriage crying than I did smiling. And one day I just woke up and thought to myself, I can't live the rest of my life like this. So I left them. And I had an amazing several years of just being single and enjoying life. And whenever I decided to move on and try to find love again, I met Squishy's dad. And he was anything and everything that a woman could dream of. I mean, he treated me like a queen. He made life larger than life, and it was better than any relationship that I ever thought I could have. And he wanted to get married. I really wasn't set on or even comfortable with the thought of getting married, but he wanted to, so I wanted to make him happy because of how happy he made me, and I married him. And the night of the wedding, he hurt me physically. And I was trying to figure out how to get out of that. I was trying to give excuses of how I could, we had been drinking, we were in Vegas, there could have been, so many different excuses that you can give. And I would go back and forth from, I am not living this life again. I will not allow a man to physically hurt me again. To, he was drunk. He didn't know really what he was doing. And I wish I would have ran. I wish I would have ran and never looked back that day, but I didn't. I came back home and we started our married life. And he was in my house, my family's home. I brought him underneath the roof of my other kids, the 2 kids that I had from my previous marriage, and things were okay. Things, were tough, but they were okay. It wasn't that horrible. And I was going in for an outpatient procedure one day, and they told me that they couldn't do it. And I was like, okay, well, is the doctor having a problem? Do we need to reschedule? And they told me, no, we can't do it because you're pregnant. And I was like, no, that's impossible. My husband had a vasectomy. I'm not pregnant. I have an IUD. I'm not pregnant. And they said, no, we did the pregnancy test twice. And I said, well, it's somebody else's test. It's not mine. And they looked at me and said, no, it's yours. You're the only one that we did a test on. You're the only one that gave a urine sample. And I'm like, this isn't possible. Can you do it again? So they literally did another test in front of me. And that's whenever I realized, I think that somebody has been lying to me. And I started digging and trying to find out information about the man that I married. And in digging, I found some pretty intense things. I found out, he had told me that he had been married once before, and he had 3 kids with that one wife, and he was married for 18 years to her. And he caught her cheating, and whenever he came home early from offshore, and he left her. And that was the story that I had. And so I started digging a little bit, asking his mother and sister clarifying questions on those particular instances, and stories that he had told me. And I'll never forget the day that I sat inside the living room in his mom's house asking her if she gets along with the mother of his other 3 kids. And she started rattling off names, and I'm not going to say those names here, but she rattled off 3 different names for these 3 kids. And I realized, I confronted him to find out, wait a second, I thought you had one previous wife and had 3 kids with this one woman. And now I found out that each of these kids had a different mom. Each of them. So there were 3 other, excuse me for using this term, but baby mamas. And now I'm number 4. What's that about? And it took a lot of arguing and persuading and me saying, look, you've been caught. I know the truth now. It's time for you to come clean. I should have never done that. I should have never tried to catch him. I should have never tried to find the truth, because that was the day that my life went from being bearable and just dealing with the fact that you have an unwanted pregnancy to being beat and mentally abused more than any one person should ever have to bear. And I'm so sorry about this, and I probably should stop this video. But I'm hoping that it helps. I'm hoping it helps get my point across. Squishy is living with rare and terminal diseases, and we have absolutely no idea where they came from or how it happened. But there's nothing in my mind that can take away the fact that I have no doubt it was from me being beat while that little body was developing inside of me. I'm gonna try to compose myself, and I don't know if I can, but I'm gonna keep on going, okay? The first lie that I found out was that day. It was an actual lie, and at this point he was still swearing he had a vasectomy. He would make up fake documentation, fake doctors' reports. I wouldn't find out about it until I tried to call the doctor's office to see if I could get some sort of answer, and realized that the number wasn't valid. Fake pathology reports, like, he was so good at covering his tracks and being something that he wanted me to think he was, even though he wasn't. And he was so good at getting inside my mind and completely convincing me how worthless I am, how pathetic I am, how any of my successes in the past were absolutely nothing more than people pitying me. And I'll never amount to anything other than just a woman that's going to be a punching bag for him. So I'm pregnant. I'm trying so hard. I'm pregnant at 40. Yeah, think about that. Whenever your kids are graduating high school, and now you're pregnant for another one. And I am trying so hard to figure out how to get me and these kids out of the situation that I put us in. And I didn't know how to. And I couldn't figure out what would cause him to do what he was doing to us. What was it? Why? Why would anybody... He told me why. It's because I was so horrible. I was such a horrible person. He's never laid hands on any other woman before. I was the first. And he can't help it because, I'm making him do it. And obviously, because I'm the only woman he's ever beat. Yeah, of course I'm making him do it. That sounds very irrational now, doesn't it? By a woman who's sitting on YouTube crying. But, that's what I was told. And part of me, even though I knew it wasn't true, believed it. Because he was convincing. And right before Squishy was born, I can't remember what I was doing wrong. I think I was cooking pork chops, and he didn't like the way I was cooking them. He wanted them made one way, and he came home from work and I was making them another, even though we never discussed it. I don't know really what the reason for it was, but I paid for it physically. And I remember thinking in my head, this is it, I'm dying. What's gonna happen to my kids? A few days later, I had Squishy. A few days later, I was admitted into the hospital of them trying to save Squishy. And I think I was in the hospital for a few weeks. They were able to keep her steady, keep her stable, and then it got to the point where we were both, Squishy and I were both in distress to where they couldn't keep her in there anymore, and she was born. this beautiful, strong, amazing little baby girl that was, 3 pounds the first day and dropped down to, 2.5 pounds the next, and sitting in this beautiful little incubator in a NICU. And I'm still with her dad, and I don't know how I'm going to support my kids, and I don't know how I'm going to keep Squishy alive, and I don't know what's wrong, and everything is a whirlwind. And I'm just trying to make it through. Finally, we got Squishy out of the hospital, only for her to be readmitted in a week. And all throughout this time of her being in the NICU and me trying to recover from the surgery, I think I was in the hospital another 2 weeks after she was born. All the times of everything that I was physically, mentally going through, the only thing I could think of is how amazing and strong she was, and how I had to be the same to get us out of this. So I did. It took a year. It took a year of me trying to outsmart a con man, trying to stash away money until he figured out that I was going to the grocery store and pulling out cash each time, because the bank statement showed a certain amount spent on groceries and $100 pulled out in cash. And then I had to figure out the next step, like, what do? I have to have money. I have to have money to be able to get away in order to keep these kids afloat until I can figure out and get my life back into a moment where I can actually support them, because I have a child that's in the hospital being transferred from one city to the next, from one hospital to another, just fighting for her beautiful little life. I was self-employed before this. I can't continue to do what I was doing in order to pay the bills, and the bills keep on piling up more and more and more. So how do I get away from this man and keep them safe? I didn't know how I was going to do it, and he kept on catching me, and he kept on being one step ahead, and he kept on beating me every step of the way. It wasn't just at home. It was as soon as the nurses left by her hospital bed, it was in the car whenever I'm just desperately looking around for anybody to see what he's doing so that they can help me get out of it. It was anywhere and everywhere. And I didn't know. I didn't know how to do it, but I knew I had to. So I went to a community organization that gave counseling to women, and I told the counselor everything. And I came up with a solid plan, and that plan failed. So I tried to come up with another one, and that plan failed. All because he was always a step ahead of me. And that's whenever I realized that I will never be able to win with this man, and I have to cut every single loss that I have. And the only way I'm going to be able to get him out of our lives to protect these kids, to protect Squishy, to protect my other two, to protect myself, is to not worry about the threats of death that he's given me for me and my kids, and not worry about how the next bill's going to be paid. To just do it. To just get out. And I did. He made it the most painful escape I don't think I could ever even verbally explain how bad it was. But we're out. And every step of the way, fighting for Squishy to be safe in custody, fighting for what I was hoping would be some sort of justice. Not getting justice, but keeping Squishy safe. Fighting for her life every step of the way. Taking her back and forth to Houston because it was the only option and the only ones that might be able to save her. And trying to save myself in the process. And the reason why I said this really, really, really long story and kind of gave you guys the overview of the background of how Squishy started and what this means to our family is seeing Brad's video from last night. And Brad, I know what it's like to see things not work out the way you intend them to do, to work. And getting told how foolish you are for trying to do something that you know is good. And getting mocked for that very thing. And just desperately reaching for anything that you can to try to figure out what would make somebody do this. Why? Why would anyone choose to destroy others, people that they claim that they loved? I know that this person could be good because he made me so happy at one point and then turned into evil that's inhuman. How? Why? Why me? Why would anybody choose to do this? And that's whenever I finally got to the life point of understanding that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why he did what he did to me. It doesn't matter that I found out that Squishy is not his fourth child. At this point, it seems, from when I stopped investigating, whenever I stopped just saying, look, enough's enough, I believe that Squishy is child number 15. And that same thing, I found enough records to show that I was not wife number 2, even wife number 4. I'm wife number 14. This man has a pattern of going around, and has since he was 17 years old, preying on women, making them so happy, conning them into a marriage, thinking that they found their life partner, tricking them into pregnancies, beating them in those pregnancies, and then running away, leaving them. There's a few things that I learned from that, and whenever I say leaving them, let me reiterate that. Abandoning his paternal responsibilities for these kids, whether it's putting them up for adoption, not working properly so he didn't have to pay child support, anything that he had to do to get out of the responsibility that he had in the way that he ruined these people's lives, which he's been doing since he's 17. He's in his 50s now. He did it. That's how this man chose to live his life. That's the energy he chose to put into the world, to con women, trick them into a pregnancy with him so that he had whatever he thought he had of all of these little kids running around that were fatherless, not taking care of them, and laughing at the fact that these women were stuck, and every single time they had to look at their child, they had to think of him. That's how he chose to live, and I can't comprehend that. And I can't figure out why he chose to put that negative energy in the world. I can't do any of that because my mind doesn't work like it. The only thing that I can do is control what I put into the world. the energy that I try to do, what I try to do good for people, what I try to do good for my family. I am absolutely not perfect. I'm so far from it. But I try every day to do the right thing. And whenever I get it wrong, I try to fix it if I can. And if I can't fix it, I have to put it behind me and move forward and just keep on trying to put good into the world, because all I can do is control me. All I can do is control that Squishy has a mother that loves her and would do anything in the world to give her one more day of happiness. I can put that into the world. I can put that into Squishy's life. I can't change the fact that she has a dad that is a literal piece of shit, and I think that that's being kind. And I feel sorry for literal pieces of shit, for even comparing this man to him, because, well, you know what? I don't even think I have to explain that. I think anybody who sat here and saw the story and heard the story about what actually occurred understands why. There's going to be people who may see this video that are inspired by it. Maybe a woman that is in an abusive relationship trying to figure out how she can get ahead and get her kids out. Maybe you can take some of the things that I said and just know that you just have to run and don't ever look back, and he will never change. And everything that he tells you about you, hey, even if there's a little bit of truth in it, doesn't mean that you deserve to sit back and allow somebody to use you as a punching bag, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, or all of them. Maybe there'll be people that are like, oh my goodness, I can't believe she went through it, and I hope that you don't do that, because, you know, I went through it, and I'm on the other side, and I don't regret it, because it shaped me into what I think is a better human being. And there may be people that just see a washed out old hag with frizzy hair and no makeup crying on YouTube. I can't change how people perceive what I'm doing. I can't change people's actions on things that I try to do that are good. All I can do is continue to put as much good into the world as I possibly can. And for, oh my goodness, I feel like all I've done is ramble and tell a story, and I hope that you understand the point that I'm getting at is, you know, maybe we'll never know. Maybe we'll never know why somebody thought it would be really, really funny to mess around with something that you were trying to do that was good in the world. But what we do know is that we have an amazing, wonderful YouTuber that saw a nonprofit that was doing amazing and wonderful things, and he decided that he was going to share this with his viewers to try to give them a feel-good moment in a world of COVID. And what you've done here, what Eddie's done here, what Zio Guitars has done here, what Scar My Guitar has done here, what every single one of your viewers has done here that has helped support us, whether it's share, whether it's a like, whether it's just the thought of, oh my goodness, I love what they're doing here, whether it's a donation, whether it's the purchase of a shirt, whether it's a bid on a guitar, whether it's a guitar that was custom built and donated in order to raise money. Nobody that is a naysayer and nobody that is trolling and sending messages can change the good that has come of this. I, for one, feel honored to even have had a conversation with you much less to say that, you know, we can text anytime we want, or if you have a question about something or advice that you can give me about the nonprofit, only thing we have to do is pick up the phone. I feel honored that I've met you, Brad. I feel honored that I've been able to work with you with the Squishy Guitar Project. And I appreciate the good that you're doing in the world, and I hope that you can find the strength to keep on putting more good out there. And I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think I'm just gonna apologize for everybody for getting so emotional. I'm sure you guys can understand why I'm not the face of the Squishy Guitar Project. It's because I shoot something in a video, I am not holding the camera right because I'm not comfortable and I don't have a stand to hold it, and I am not a professional videographer or speaker. I'm just a mom who's trying to run a nonprofit to benefit children that see more pain in their life than they do happiness. And I'm going to keep on trying to do that. And I thank you for all that you've done and all of your viewers have done in order to help us do that. So I'm going to say goodbye. This has been Angie with the Squishy Guitar Project, raising awareness for rare diseases, one guitar at a time.